You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi, everybody. Cheryl K. with Unleashed. I want to welcome you. And I'm so excited today because I have a special guest, Jean Baur, rhymes with flower. She's an author, a speaker, and she has wonderful Bella, the therapy dog. Welcome, Jean.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
I'm so glad. I read your book, and Bella is she's a beauty. And why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got her, and we could take it from there.
Certainly. Well, I didn't plan in any way to have a therapy dog, but when we adopted Bella from a shelter in New Jersey, she was rescued from Dead Dog Beach in Puerto Rico, and we got her as a little 4-month-old puppy. She was absolutely wild, and despite a lot of training and obedience and classes and whatnot, she was still pretty wild at age 1. So our vet told me that she needed a job. And so the job he suggested was agility training. So we did 2 years of that, and Bella started to compete, and we did, I think, 3 competitions. And then I think we both agree on this, Bella and I, at least my feeling was it wasn't the right job for us, which was kind of funny because I was working then in New Jersey as a career coach. So I was helping people with their careers, and my dog had the wrong career. And a friend of mine said, I really would like to have my dog become a therapy dog. Would you like to do it with me? And I said, sure. So that's how we started on this path. It was quite really accidental.
And how is the training? Is it intense training?
Well, it is. I mean, as training any dog is intense in my opinion, but you have to go through basic obedience. Then you have to pass the Canine Good Citizen, which is the American Kennel Club test. And then the ultimate test is the therapy dog test, which is quite difficult because one of the things they're testing for is the dog's startle reflex. So they drop pots and pans next to your dog. They bump into them with a wheelchair or a walker, and they want to see what your dog does when he or she is startled. And Bella kind of looked at them like, can't you see I'm here? What's wrong with you?
Well, I read the book, and I think Bella invented the word startled because I read how wild she was and,
yes,
how she terrorized the cat. And
oh, yes.
But she must have really, at some age, settled down. And you're right, she needed a job.
She did need a job, and she needs to work. I mean, even now, Cheryl, at age 10, she knows the word work, and I say, Bella, you ready for work? And her ears, just prick up, and she's like ready to go. So still, she has a huge amount of energy, not the crazy energy of a puppy, but she likes to go. She likes to go new places. She likes to be with kids or nursing home residents or hospital patients, and she's very interested in the world around her.
That's wonderful. That really is. Yeah. And she must have the temperament for it.
Well, she does. But, I go to this nursing home with my friend Deb and her dog Shelby. And Shelby is a nice, relaxed lab. And, you could do anything to Shelby. And it doesn't really bother Shelby, where Bella is much more sensitive and a little harder to work with as a therapy dog team. But I also think her gifts are amazing. And part of her gifts is her sensitivity.
Wow. Because I remember in the book that she was sensitive on her head for petting, I guess.
Oh, yes. Yeah, she really doesn't like to be pet. Except the odd thing is, the minute I'm about to say that to a patient at the hospital, then they reach down and pat her on the head and she's just fine. So I never know. Lots of times she is head shy. But other times she's just like, okay, whatever, you can pat me on my head if you want.
So you take her to schools. Is it disabled children, or is it just she's in a classroom to get young children? Because, I believe I was raised with pets. My parents had a dog long before I was born. But I think it's very important for a child to have a pet. It teaches them loyalty and love. So,
oh, yes.
So
yes.
What are the ages that, of the school-age children that you bring her to?
Well, today, because I'm in New Jersey visiting my daughter, Bella went to 2 elementary school classes, 2 of my grandchildren. So these were just a 2nd grade and a 4th grade class. So that was a huge amount of fun. So the children learned about what is a therapy dog, what do they do, what was the training like, and they get to meet Bella and pat her. But our week-to-week work is with special ed, and we either work one-on-one with the child, or in the case of the middle school where we work now, Bella is with a group of about 5 8th grade boys, and she just charms them. She has them all wrapped around her paws, and and they toss the ball for her. They give her treats. They lie on the floor with her. But it's just
she's important.
She is important, and they just relax and have a great time with her. But if I miss a week, I am in trouble. They're like, why weren't you here?
And this is all volunteer on your part, correct?
Absolutely. All volunteer.
Okay.
Yes.
And, in writing the book, so you would say that the training for a dog that would be like this is well over a year?
Well, yeah, it depends when you start. We got Bella at 4 months old, so you can't have a therapy dog unless the dog's a year old anyway, because it just takes that much time. But, Bella didn't really become certified till the age of 5 because we had done the 2 years of agility training, and it took some time, but other dogs, I think, would be quicker.
Okay. Now, as far as the book goes, there are other books on this particular subject, but, I think the fact that her picture on it is just what, if people are going to pick a book by a cover and then read what it's about, and the fact that it says joy, so the word joy, and she has a beautiful face. She does. She has beautiful eyes. But in writing the book, what do you feel in, writing this book that is different than some of the other books that have come out? Because you do go to a lot of different places, hospitals, schools, yes. I think that's what's different.
Yeah, well, what's different, what I really tried to do, Cheryl, was I read a lot of books about dogs and a lot of books about therapy dogs, and there's certainly some fine works out there. What I felt, though, was that there weren't books that really showed in depth the magic that happens with these dogs and how smart they are, and how, as a handler, as I'm called, Bella's partner, her human partner, I think part of our job is to get out of the way, because dogs know what to do. They really do, and they read people so well. So I wanted to show, whether it's with the school children, nursing home, cancer center patients, hospital patients, college students, Coast Guard cadets. We see a very diverse population, but I wanted to really show that magic, that the way a dog changes things and comforts people and makes them feel better, because to me, that's the magic of the therapy dog work.
I think that's wonderful. We're going to go for a break right now, and we'll be right back.
Okay, time to call off the dogs. We'll be back with more biting topics right after we kibble a little with our sponsors.
Retrievers, Labradors, Goldens are the main breeds that come through our door, but we'll train anything with 4 legs and a tail. My husband and I own a kennel. We train hunting dogs and also have a boarding and grooming business. Our dogs, they're athletes, and we feed a very quality food. You can't get enzymes in a commercial dog food because they cook it at such a high heat that so much important nutrition is just cooked right out of it. But adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
DINOVITE.
Dynovite's the bomb.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit designerpetsweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. designerpetsweaters.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Okay, we're back. What I want to ask you about, have you ever thought about, with veterans? Because they seem to respond wonderfully to dogs. Of course, dogs that they could own themselves and give them comfort on a 24-hour or day-to-day basis. But, veteran homes, even for the older vets who, they have some of these housings available for them. And have you done any of that?
I haven't done it at a specific veterans, location, but I have actually visited quite a few veterans in the hospital. And in fact, one story that just really stuck in my mind was when I met this patient who was waiting to be discharged, and it turned out he was a Korean War veteran. And we just had the most amazing conversation about his service and what it was like to fight in that war. And the stories that people tell you when there's a dog there to just kind of relax them and unlock them and make them feel that this is a non-judgmental audience are amazing. So I'd be very happy to visit other veterans too.
Yeah. I heard a story, it's a little similar, about one dog that was adopted from a shelter, and everybody that adopted the dog ran away and came back to the shelter. And this went on for many, many months. I mean, it was almost like they didn't even want to adopt the dog out anymore. And what it turned out to be was the dog was meant to be at the shelter because the dog made all the other animals, because we know what goes on at a shelter, the barking, the crying. It's not like in the movies where there's only one dog in a cage and everything. It's quite horrifying and very, very sad. But this dog seemed to calm all the other dogs, and they just, stopped trying to even adopt this dog out, and they realized that was this dog's job, to stay in the shelter, and all the other dogs that came in, she just brought comfort to them. You're right. Dogs do listen, and of course, they're very, very special. Anybody who's had a pet, I have right now 2 cats. One is a Maine Coon who is very dog-like, but all of my dogs, they just have a certain sense. They sense things. I mean, if they don't like somebody or they feel danger or they sense danger, the hair goes up. But,
oh, yes.
But the dogs that have the temperament to like everybody, they just watch. I mean, we've all seen those dogs that go up to, say, a child with Down syndrome or an autistic child that is terrified of everything, and the dog just walks right up to the child, and the child just accepts him. So there's there's something to be said for that. I want to ask you, now that Bella is 10, I don't think there's a retirement age for dogs.
Not that I know of, and not me either, I'm hoping, Cheryl.
Is there any chance that you would consider adopting an adult dog and trying to train the dog with Bella now? So Bella would have a friend to do this with? Because in reading the book, when she started, she had that buddy when you lived in Pennsylvania, and she really took cues from them.
Yes, she did. She learned a lot from Brandon, my friend Kathy's dog in Pennsylvania. Well, we do work with other therapy dog teams here. We work with my friend Deb, and her dog Shelby is in the book, but she now has a new dog named Ethel. So Bella and Ethel are working together at the nursing home. And then in the hospital, we work with my friend Kat, and she has a dog named Ren. So Bella does get to be with other therapy dogs and work with them, and that's really her favorite, because I think the other dogs give her reassurance and
socialization.
Yes, and she likes that a lot. We have a cat, Henry, who is also in the book, and he thinks he's a dog. And so Bella has a great deal of fun with Henry. They curl up together and chase each other, and so she's not exactly an only child, but my husband volunteers at a shelter in Rhode Island, and I'm pretty sure it's only a matter of time before we have another dog.
Right. And is she different at home? I mean, she knows when she comes home, this is totally different.
She's different in the sense that she'll sleep more if she gets a chance,
Right.
finds a soft couch or a bed and she'll take a nice nap. But she's very active still with us, or if a neighbor drops by or she sees the kids next door, she's just very connected to people and likes to find out what they're doing. And we walk her a great deal, so she's out, she's exploring. I think it's very important for a therapy dog to be a dog, too.
Right.
So,
do you go to parks, dog parks and whatnot?
I can't go to dog parks because Bella is afraid of a lot of dogs, and that doesn't go well. I have tried and tried and tried, and we hang out with the dogs she's not afraid of. But in the dog park, I mean, I think even Cesar Millan said that he didn't think that they were necessarily a great place because you get owners who really,
Right.
haven't trained their dogs and aren't paying much attention to what their dogs are doing.
Right, that's true. That is true.
And for Bella, with all these issues she has from her early puppy days and in Puerto Rico, I just have to be a little protective and not, put her in a situation where she's terrified.
They all come with baggage. It doesn't really matter what age, because from what I've heard, up to 6 months is really when their personality, really starts to be formed. But where she came from, I don't say where you got her from, but where she came from is a horrid place.
It's it's terrifying. And the fact that she survived, is the first miracle. And then, all the things it took. But, when you look at the changes she went through in the first 4 months of her life, that's a challenging puppyhood.
Yeah. Well, from reading the book, she really was wild.
She was absolutely crazy. I mean, we had to have her on a leash in the house. She didn't know how to walk. She only flew. She flew through the air. She banged into things. She dug up the backyard. She chased the cat. I mean, she doesn't have a mean bone in her body, but wow. That terrier energy and drive is quite something to deal with.
And, looking at her face, it would be hard to say she's terrier.
Well, yeah, sometimes you can see it, but you can see more the lab and the whippet.
Yeah, definitely the Whippet.
Yeah.
Whippet is my new favorite. I did a show on the Whippet a few months ago. That seems to be making a comeback.
They're such sweet and smart dogs.
And fast.
And so Bella, I used to say when she was a little puppy, this is a dog who was born to run. And, when I was thinking of a title for the book, I realized Joy Unleashed. I meant it literally because I had to train her so that she could run off leash, because there's no way I could run even half as fast as she wants to run. So in places that are safe, trails in the woods and big fields where there's no cars, I can let her go. And you can hardly see her. She's so fast.
Right. They are fast runners.
Yeah.
Was it easier to get her comfortable with the children? Because I know in the beginning you did hospitals and you even did, chemotherapy suites, which to me is really the best, because they sit there for hours and it's a horrible thing that they're going through. And to have dog, just being there is comfort. But was it a transition for her to, because children are smaller, children touch, children are quick. I'm not saying they pull the tails and things, but.
Oh, no, but they can, yeah.
Not every child has a dog or respects a dog.
Well, I was lucky in that the first school that I went to, I was working with a woman who had founded the dog therapy program at that school, and she was really so good at it. And so I was one-to-one with each child. The children were very carefully selected. We didn't have any issues. Then the second school, I was working with an absolutely wonderful special ed teacher. In fact, she's the one who wrote the foreword to the book. And that was wonderful. And Bella just took to the kids. I mean, that really is her favorite population. And I jokingly call them her puppies, because she just prances down the hallways in the schools. And, if a classroom door is open, she pokes her head in, hello, you want to see me? And it's really cute.
Is it easy to get, permission from school districts? I mean, is there a rigmarole, or they have to, of course they have to meet both of you because you're coming into a school. And I would think a hospital as well.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I was staggered. The very first job we had when Bella got certified was in the hospital in Pennsylvania. And it took weeks before we could go in there, because I had to have 2 TB shots. Then both Bella and I had to have photo IDs. Then I had to go to a volunteer orientation. And then there was mountains of paperwork. Obviously, they wanted to see her veterinary records, her certification as a therapy dog. it was, you're a volunteer and you're thinking, wow, this is hard.
Right.
So they do have to be careful. And the school, the elementary school that is in our, close to where I live in Connecticut, it took me 6 months to get into that school because the principal was worried about children with allergies. And, I finally convinced him that this really was not going to be an issue. We were not going to be near any children with allergies, and Bella would be working with the children that the special ed teacher selected. And it was a huge hit. The whole school loved having her there.
So I guess you're glad that this is your act 2 in life, that you get a lot of joy from this to begin with. Because, you went through a major change also.
Yes, I lost my job. So, and it's kind of ironic, Cheryl, because I was a career coach and I'd helped thousands of people get over their job loss. And then, and then it happened to me at age 65, which is not nice, And I'm like, wow. And like Bella, I still have a lot of energy, so I wanted to do something. And I am still working because I work as a speaker, but this volunteer work is so much fun and so rewarding because I get to meet people and see how Bella affects them.
Yeah, that is very important. Now, when you do your speaking engagements, do you bring her with you?
It depends. So like tonight, I'm speaking at the Ridgewood Public Library here in New Jersey, and Bella will, of course, be there. But I also speak on career issues and burnout and some other issues, and then Bella is not there.
Okay. So is there going to be an Unleashed 2?
Well, what I'm working on now is a children's book version of Joy Unleashed. So we will see. This is still in the early stages, but for, like children 3 to 8, that young age.
I think that's great. If you could get kids to read.
Yes. Yeah.
She should get an award.
That's right. I think she should too. And this might be the kind of book that parents would read to a child, but still, it would be a picture book with photographs or drawings or whatever. And so that's what my publisher is interested in that. We'll see how that goes. And, I never know as a writer where I'm going next. It's exciting.
And this is the first book you've ever written, correct?
No, it's my third. My first 2 were on career issues. The first is called Eliminated Now What? So what do you do when you lose your job? And the second is called the Essential Job Interview Handbook. So practical, books about careers, which is what I worked in for many years.
So I have a question, and you can answer it since Bella can't speak, at least.
Okay.
What is her favorite season?
Oh, my goodness. Well, summer, because she loves to swim. And we're so lucky because we right across from our house is a big field, and at the end of the field is a pond. So that's swimming place number 1. And then in our neighborhood is on the edge of a saltwater cove because we're on coastal Connecticut. And she swims in the cove. So she has 2 choices for her swimming opportunities in the summer.
That is wonderful. Who doesn't like summer?
And she loves mud too, I have to say.
Mud. Okay.
Mud. Oh, yes. Mud is wonderful. She rolls in it and thinks that this is great. And something about her fur, 5 minutes later, she's as clean as a whistle. You just wouldn't know she'd rolled in the mud. It's funny.
Well, she must be cleaning herself.
I think she runs so fast, Cheryl, it falls off her. Really, but she likes to roll in the grass. But she also really loves snow. So I'd say that probably winter is her second favorite.
Because she looks like she's really a little bigger than a medium-sized dog.
Yeah, she's 44 pounds. So I call her a compact size. She's all muscle and just incredibly fast. It's just a great dog to see run.
So, like, at home, she relaxes. If you have a fireplace, she hangs out by the fireplace. She knows how to... No?
Well, she hates the fireplace because it makes popping sounds. And that's one of the many things she's afraid of. I think at Dead Dog Beach, she heard a fair amount of gunshots. And so she's afraid of the fire. She's afraid of the dark. She's afraid of wind. She's afraid of thunder.
And July 4th must be terrible.
It's the worst day of the year. It is the worst day of the year. We have a thunder coat and we put it on her and we do what we can to distract her, but she just trembles through the
I think I saw something online, and I have it on my Unleash page on Facebook, that it's kind of like a little box. Not little like a box, but the animal goes in there and it's got, piped in music and, You know,
Oh.
I will find it and I will send it to you because
thank you.
I have a friend that they just had to drive. They just had to keep driving because where they live, it's just relentless and the dog just paces. Even thunder. A lot of dogs don't like thunder, you know, and the pressure for their ears. And this is something that you could pipe in. They have some training where, you know, if there's thunder, you know, before July 4th, of course, that you could try to get the dog involved in some other activity to take their mind off of it. I grew up with my girlfriend's dog. It was a shepherd, and they had a place upstate on a lake. And, you know, a tranquilizer, and, you know, they took the dog up there because the dog just went crazy. I mean, it's frightening.
Well, it is frightening. I mean, Bella is scared, but I can usually, you know, distract her with a tennis ball, or if I get her moving, I've found ways to kind of help her work through the fear. And then I do put the thunder coat on her, which takes some of the edge off.
That's wonderful. Well, I thank you for all the wonderful things that you do with Bella, because, you know, that really does change your life and make a life a little happier, especially at the hospital, especially with children and little children, and start to go to more vets. I'm very big on comfort dogs for vets. I think
wonderful.
I really believe that, you know, these dogs in shelters could really make a difference. You know, it's just that they're very, very difficult and very expensive to train. I don't know why. I've seen some shows on it and done some research on it, and that's really where my passion lies. I know they have parrots for vets now to help them. Parrots are very social. And they live very long lives, and
they do.
And people, you know, either die or they move on, and they don't want. I read an article about a woman in L.A. who took over this place with all of and they're very social parrots, and vets came in there, and it really made a big difference. So I am very for that. So I really thank you, and shake Bella's paw for me.
I will.
And I would love to have you on again, and I wish you much, much success with the new book, and you'll tell me all about it.
Yes, and if anybody wants to learn more, it's just www.joyunleashed.org.
And I will have it on my Unleashed page on Facebook. And, you know, you did send me a video, and I will put that on as well.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. It was a real pleasure.
A real pleasure for me. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. I think it's a wonderful thing to see how, you know, dogs could fit in different aspects of our society. And I hope to see you again. And remember to live life unleashed. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.